Hello and welcome to a tutorial using Prismic as a headless CMS and Nuxt.js as a front-end framework. My name is Tom Dale, creator of letsgoheadless.com. Let's go ahead and get started with the tutorial, and let's go headless. Okay, so let's get started here. Just to show you quickly what we are going to build. It's going to be connected to an article up here that is like your prominent article, and then we're going to have a repeating article type going through the bottom as well. So let me go ahead and start this. So open up your terminal and then do npm init Nuxt app and the name of the project. Let's do Prismic CMS to Nuxt. So it's going to give you a couple of questions to answer. Choose the package you're going to use. Use Tailwind CSS for the UI framework. I'm not going to need any of these modules. Normally you would choose a linter. I'm just not going to do this for the demo. No testing framework. We want universal for the rendering mode. We want static for the Jamstack hosting. I am using my VS Code editor, so I'll use jsconfig. Confirm your GitHub username, git, and then it's going to start installing there. So one of the next step now would be to create a Prismic account. So if we go to prismic.io, we can see what that process would look like here. So for the pricing, you can see they have a free plan here, right? So everything's unlimited, and then 100 gigabytes of built-in CDN. So there's no reason to certainly pay for anything for this project. This could definitely be free. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my account I've already built, right? So here we go. So on the left side, you're going to have documents and custom types and then media library. We want to start on the custom types. So you're going to be building, you're going to want two custom types, right? A repeatable one and a non-repeatable one. So this one at the top, it's not repeatable. And then the one below, these are just repeating blog posts that continue to show. So you can go to the create new section, and that's where you get the choice to do which one, right? So for the single type, I'm going to do one called teaser, right? It says I already have that created. But then, so once you create it, you get to a screen where you drag in the UI, right? And you're essentially just going to drag things over and create what I've done here. It's only four things you need: is the unique ID, which I've called UID, the title. So I just drag this section over here and call it title. Then I did a rich text section, drug it over here, and I called it content. And then an image section, I drug it over here and called it hero image. So Prismic does have a thing called the slice zone. I'm not using that, but it's a really interesting thing that we can, I'll talk about later in maybe another video specifically about Prismic. But just to keep it simple, just these four fields. And I did that twice: one for post, one for teaser, two custom types, one's repeatable, and one's a single. Okay. Then when you go to the documents section, you press this little pencil to create a new type. This is a new kind of post, and then you just start typing in here, right? I only have a chance to make a post because I already made the teaser. And remember, you can only make one of those. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a look here. This is all good. So Now I'm going to cd into the project here. And run dev just to see what we're looking at. This would also be a good time to bring out your code editor, and we're going to start having to use that, right? So I've got the brand new project here. So let's go ahead and get rid of the template we just saw here and start with a fresh look. So I'm going to go to my components, and you can just delete both of these. Then I can just also get rid of this tutorial part in the index.view. Yep. Okay. Yep. So everything is working well there. So let's go ahead and just build out the scaffolding to see what this could look like, right? So I'm going to start with just placeholder info, and then we'll go from there. So let me bring up something I've already typed, and I'll go over what it is. Okay, so let me zoom in here for everyone. Okay, so remember I'm using Tailwind, right? So these little class names are nicknames for using CSS, just to be a little simpler. So I'm creating a section where it has a title, and then creating another section here, right, where it has a placeholder image, and then I have some content. This is my blog post, right? So looking at that over here, looks like this. Got your little title up here, image, this section. Real simple, right? Just the basic scaffolding of what we're going to look at here. So what we want to do is obviously start replacing these items with what was in Prismic, right? So what we can actually do for, let's see, for Prismic is we're actually going to install a Nuxt.js Prismic module. npm install at Nuxt.js Prismic. This is going to help us get access to the API here, right? And then, so we'll open up this and go to our Nuxt config. And then our build module section at Nuxt.js/Prismic. And then below this, we're going to create a little Prismic section. Prismic endpoint https something.cdn.prismic.io API v2 modern true. Right here. Obviously, we need something to go into something right here, right? So even though this is a Nuxt project, I'm just calling it Prismic to Gatsby, so that's okay. There we go. This is just a read-only, right? So it's a read-only API. It's fine if you guys see this, right? One thing we do need to create now is we need to create a little folder just called Prismic here real quick. So let's go down here, create a folder. It's called Prismic. I'm going to add a file called linkresolver.js. And we just need to do a simple little return for the routing with Prismic. to help resolve those links. That's it. Okay. All right. So now let's see what we've got going on here. Okay. So we're going to want to connect the API endpoint now. And let's go ahead and run this again. So to connect the API endpoint, we can go in the index section right here. And we're going to go down below in the script. So let me just paste this in and then talk about it again, right? That was, here we go. I feel like I recorded probably the wrong part. Here we go. Okay. So it's this async request that I want to do. Async data, Prismic, an error, right? So you want to try, and then I'm going to name a constant. I'm naming it teaser, right? Because remember we created a section called teaser, right? The single type was called teaser, right? So await the Prismic API get single, because the teaser one is the single custom type, not repeatable. Get a single teaser.data, and then return teaser, and then just if there's an error, it gives us the 404, right? So that's what I want to do to access that API. And now I should be able to go up here and erase this and now access the Prismic API by doing the $Prismic as text. And then inside here, teaser.title, right? So let's see. Here we go. It's replacing the title right here. So that was really, really simple, right? You have the teaser here. There we go. So obviously we can just do the same thing down here for the content, I think, right? Assign Prismic as text. Teaser.content is what this section is called, right? There we go. Comes right in. And then for the image, so we do need to put a colon here, right, to be binding the source. And this one, we're not going to do the Prismic endpoint for the rich text, right? Instead, we're just going to bring in the URL. So teaser.heroimage.url. This is probably going to be too big, but it's okay. Yep, here we go. Yep. It brought in the image. It's way too big. That's okay. We got this. That's good. So we're accessing all three of these endpoints already. So I want to now optimize this image, right? So Prismic is using imgix to optimize all of its images. So that's pretty powerful. And the nice thing is there's all these API endpoints you can access to optimize the images from imgix. So if I were to do something like this, hey, like the width 600, you can see now it's a smaller, right? It's width 600, and it even has intelligent formatting and compression, like already always happening, right? So you can pass the APIs in here, and that would optimize the image. But that's not really a best practice thinking about like responsive images and that kind of thing, right? It's just only thinking of one situation, 600 width, like on desktop. So I want to actually take advantage of an image module that Nuxt has to optimize, to still use the same powerful image optimization we have, but I'd have it just build out like source sets and make it real simple for me. So let's stop this and install the Nuxt image. So npm install -d at Nuxt image. I want to install that Nuxt image. And again, we're going to have to go to the Nuxt config, right? So I'll add one more thing here in the build modules at Nuxt image. And we're going to, again, make one more section here. So you can declare what image you're using or what service. We're using Prismic. So just put Prismic in here. And that is that. Pretty simple, right? So let's see if the install is done running. It is. Start it up again. So now I can go to my image here, my image tag, and switch it out for something Nuxt image. Just put the word Nuxt and dash right in front of it, right? Now it's going to be creating these source sets I want. One thing I do need to say is provider equals and then put Prismic, right? Okay. All right, so now we have the provider's Prismic. We have this here. I'm going to get rid of this because, again, it's going to do some smarter optimizing, right? Now, I want to add just a little styling to this from Tailwind, and I'm also going to add a sizes section. So here we go. So this is going to make it when it's large, it's like 60, it's a large image. Then at this medium and small, it's half the width of the browser, and then it's the full width of the browser, right? And I'm doing the same thing here, right? Like at certain sizes of the browser, I want it to be 60%, 3 divided by 5. And then at certain sizes, I want it to be 50. And certain sizes, I want it to be full, right? You can play around with the sizes and see how it'll change. We can, again, look over here, right? Refresh. So when I add that sizes, it generates these different, as here, max width, right? So when the browser is 320 or bigger, it's 90%. When it's 640 or bigger, it's still 90%. 768 or bigger goes to half. 1024 or bigger goes to 60. So you can see it reflect, right? Like right now, it's that 60. Here you hit that half point, right? And then it's going to hit, there I go, the 90% of the screen point. So that's what I was trying to line up and match there by doing that. One last thing I'm just going to touch on is the idea of I want to crop the image, right, to fit in my little box. And I'm actually going to pass a couple of those. Remember those additional imgix APIs I was just like adding at the end of the URL? Well, now with this Nuxt image, I just actually add it to a modifier section. So I want it to like crop to the face, and then if there's no face, crop to an edge section. I want it to be a specific aspect ratio. And then I want it to use also client hints. So like on Chrome, it'll know the exact size and everything as well. We shouldn't see much of a change though, but for all the images, it'll definitely matter and take effect. Cool. All right, so now we've already got access to that teaser section. We've got the title, the content, and we've optimized the image using Nuxt's built-in image and combined it with the image solution coming from Prismic. So that was really simple. So now we need to connect to that repeatable post, right? So the big thing we're going to have to change is down here, we're going to have to also add one more constant, right? So let's see here. If we want a constant, that's going to go to, I'm going to call it blog posts. And we're going to wait the Prismic API. We're going to query, what's going on here? Here we go. We're going to query the Prismic API. And now we're, instead of getting a single, we're looking at a certain type of document. And it's a document I've called post, right? So query that one. And then I want you to return posts. Let's call it blog post.results. And I think that should be fine, right? So let's confirm this idea. Let's make a new div. We want to make it right about after this one. So I'm going to do a VIF, and the VIF is just going to check, hey, are there any posts? And if there's not, type this, right? So yeah. Something is messed up here. No, it's not. Okay, so VIF posts is not equal to, or is not equal to 0. So then in here is really where we're going to type all of our stuff, right? And then down here, if it is equal to 0, then just write no post publish this time. So right in this section is where we're going to put that repeatable type, right? So what we need to do now is do a v4, and the v4 is unique to Nuxt in the idea that it's looking for some kind of API endpoint, and for every instance of that API endpoint, repeat this line of code for it, right? So v4, you essentially do a singular version of what you're looking for, right? Because we have posts, right? So v4 post in posts for, so singular in the plural, and you need a way to differentiate each post, right? It's going to differentiate it as post ID. So look up the ID, and you need to vbind post, and I want to add a little sizing again from Tailwind. I want it to essentially be 3 when it's larger, have 3 columns, then 2 columns, then 1 column, right? All right. So we're going to look in the API and repeat everything that's in here for every instance there's a post. So that's going to be great. Okay. So let's bring in the rest of it now. It's going to look very similar to what we did for the single type. So we have the header, the image, and the content, right? And same idea, Prismic as text, but instead of teaser.title, I now have post.data.title, right? Then I'm just going to jump down here to this one first. Same idea, post.data.content, right? Now for the image, I did the exact same idea, right? Nuxt Image, Prismic. I did loading lazy, so the first piece of content at the top, I didn't want to lazy load, but then the stuff that's going to appear below the fold, I do want to lazy load those images. I have my sizes set up here again, right? Smaller when it's large. It's getting a little bit bigger as it switches to 2 column and then 1 column. For the source, post.data.heroimage.url, and the same modifiers. So here we go. Let's, there you go. We've already got it here. It's working perfect. There you go. That was super easy, right? Using this Prismic API, maybe have to do like a really just simple idea to connect to this data. Versus others, you might have to do like some complex GraphQL stuff to make this work. So I really thought that made this super easy. I was glad. So the last thing we really just have left to do would be, I mean, obviously you can do nicer things in here, right? Like you could add, you could add a little footer, you could add the nav bar, you could click into each image and have it go to the title and be like a dynamic endpoint. And that's all pretty easy with Nuxt, but I just wanted this to be a simple way for you to launch the website. So let's go ahead and launch this and just show again how easy that can be, right? So I'm going to go ahead and push this project up to GitHub here. So I'm going to use GitHub Desktop. Yeah, that's what I'm going to use. So let me scoot this over. So I'm going to create a new repository. I'm looking in here. I need to find it, right? GitHub Prismic CMS to Nuxt is the one I did. Yep, add it. Yep, there we go. Add repository. There we go. I also wanted to actually, right before I push this up, I want to do one more thing. So I'm going to push this to Vercel, right? So I want to create a Vercel.json file. People will also often think, Vercel, they made Nuxt.js, so that's what you should deploy here, right? But it actually does Nuxt.js projects really well. I just need to kind of give it a little builder. And so in my Vercel.json file, I'm just going to say, hey, builder, use your Vercel builder, right? And then right here in this route section, I'm just telling it, hey, the image URL for Prismic, again, you can go in here and see, right? Images.prismic. I want you to know, consider that as like my URL as well. Consider it as self. That way I can run client hints on it. So that way it just doesn't think of it as a third-party item. All right, so I added that as well, right? So let's do initial commit, up, not private. There we go. And let's go ahead and go to Vercel here. So new project, it should show up right here. I go just now. I connected to my GitHub repo via Vercel. So import. I don't think I need to do anything. I don't have any environment variables. And I'm using the Vercel builder. So let's just press the button and it should work. So this should just take, there we go, about a minute and a half or so. There we go. Congratulations, it worked. Let's visit it. Here we go. It is now deployed and working wonderful. So easy. And you might see this pencil up here. It's a plugin I have installed. It just allows me to easily modify and add articles and show me all my articles, right? Great. Thank you so much for doing this tutorial with me. It was real quick, just simple to get the Prismic CMS, the Prismic API to work on Nuxt.js, and then everything's optimized and doing great. If you have other projects you want to watch, please, subscribe. We're going to be coming out with more, and thank you again.